So Jamie Carragher has come up with a short list of 4 to take over as permanent Manchester United head coach in the summer. Speaking on Monday Night Football, Carragher believes United should consider Eddie Howe, Luis Enrique, Julian Nagelsmann and Thomas Tuchel.
Drink of it, what do you think?
Oh, come on. I'll tell you who straight away we will not be managing Manchester United is Jurgen Klopp. So that's out. Xabi Alonso as well.
Are you sure?
No, that won't. He cannot do that.
Why can't he do that?
Well, he can't because, listen, his affiliation
he has decided
with Liverpool, that can't happen.
He's moving on very quickly.
Zinedine Zidane, for me, is almost like a younger version than sort of Ancelotti, almost suits Real Madrid, but maybe I'm wrong.
So are you thinking at this point more coach than manager because Manchester United have the sporting directors set up in place?
Listen, a bit of both. You need to manage a huge football. Can you handle the press?
So if you're thinking, if you're talking manager, exactly, someone who can communicate, handle the press, do they have to have the charisma in a job like that?
Listen, the areas that we're looking for and Manchester United be looking for, there should only really be 2 or 3 names on this list, or maybe 3 or 4. For me, I've obviously looked at this before.
All right, keep going then.
Well,
you're doing quite well here.
Maresca, no, I mean, I think he's a really good coach. Xavi is one where you think Barcelona, he won the league there, but enough experience for Manchester United as well. He still only had a couple of years as a manager. Did well, probably got that, football and IQ,
so
if you like.
You've just said you want experience as well then?
Listen, for me, let's go. Ancelotti, for me, wouldn't have the energy and drive to sort of get Manchester
Experience,
United.
but not too much.
Yeah. Didier Deschamps, no. If Roberto Martinez does a brilliant job at let's say you get to the World Cup final, you win the World Cup, there's no doubt I think Roberto is probably ready for the one thing that he probably hasn't done in his managerial career so far is managing an elite football club. But he'd have to do something really special. Now, Pochettino was a little bit the same as me with Ancelotti, a little bit. I think if you were talking about the Pochettino at Tottenham, but I think what happened at Chelsea, he almost became a manager and almost sort of sat back, and that was the reason why I think they went for Maresca. They wanted a young, energetic coach. Scaloni, for me, is a no in that he doesn't know the league. So you're looking at probably 2 there for me in terms of Thomas Tuchel. He's been in the Premier League before. He's obviously a top manager. The thing I like about him is I still think he's got that energy and drive and spikiness about him. He's gone into the England squad and he's ruffled feathers with some of the biggest players there. Now, I'm not saying that has to happen in every job he's in, but there's something about him, he just feels like he'd sort of go to war for your club and he'd be fighting against the other clubs and he'd have something about him. Nagelsmann, listen, I don't know everything about him, but I do look at a coach who's got a big reputation. He's probably got a lot to prove as well, in some ways. So that was the international side of things. Now when I look at Glasgow, straight away I'd say no because of the system, straight away. Iraola has done, a brilliant job and has linked with a top job, but for me, Bournemouth to Manchester United is a huge jump. It is. I'd say the same with Marco Silva, who again I'm a big fan of. And no disrespect to those managers or the club I'm going to mention, I think the next step for them would be Tottenham. If Iraola, Marco Silva, that for me feels more Tottenham-like than Manchester United. That would be the next step for them. You've got Valverde there now, a really experienced coach. Again, not for me. For Manchester United, De Zerbi, brilliant coach, but
crossing him out.
He's liable to go to war with them within about 6 weeks, isn't he? That's what it feels like to me.
You mean with the owners?
Yeah, with the owners. Now, Luis Enrique, you would absolutely have him all day. The Simeone one is really interesting. And I was speaking to Gary on the podcast last week about United's DNA. And we've just had a chat about DNA and where we see it. And we probably didn't go into enough detail probably on that than what we've just chatted about. But it's interesting that Roy, who obviously loves the club, Gary's the same. They have both mentioned Diego Simeone at different points, probably in the last sort of 4 or 5 months, about they wouldn't mind seeing him for Manchester United. Now, that for me almost goes away from what a club's DNA is, because he is a defensive coach. And that's what I go back to in this country. We pick managers on the success they have at clubs. And that's what I always say about a club's DNA. You can't then ask a manager who you're bringing in because he's successful. It's like Amarin, asking him to not play 3 at the back. It's like you're getting him from here to bring what he did there here. You can't then ask him to change. And that goes back to, again, we don't do that in this country. Maybe it'll change in the future, but we
Should
don't.
Simeone be someone that they talk about? What would they be getting?
But again, my first thing, if we were here, as this is false, but if we were here talking, I would have had first and foremost an internal discussion of what we want to be. And I know I'm going back to the same thing, that we'll have a clear view of who we're going to get. And I think that sometimes bypassing that discussion about where
To have this discussion.
no, but which direction that we want to take, then it becomes clearer.
I know what you mean,
Like
yeah.
exactly what we said before, like, Rijkaard getting the opportunity maybe
Yeah.
for not having.
But you did say
done
winner.
well.
You said that they should be looking for a winner. And
We're
that's the
definitely
winner.
crossing
No,
Fabregas out, aren't we,
I
Thierry?
said that Man United were a winning team. I didn't say they need to look for a winner. I said that in my time, when you asked me what Man United was, I said in my time, a winning team.
So we've crossed,
it
we've
is
crossed
it is
Fabregas
different.
out. Thierry, are you happy enough?
Oh yes, please do that.
But I
Yes.
think we are watching one of the next big coaches here in Cesc.
No, joking aside, because obviously I don't know if people know, but I'm whatever. I'm not going to go
Well,
into discussion.
let me fill in the blanks. You are a part owner of Como, where Cesc has
So that's
taken
why
his first
I keep
steps
on
as a
saying
coach.
no. But
Yeah.
if we talk about the magnitude of the coach, of what he's doing right now, it's actually outstanding. Really, what he's been doing, Cesc.
Sixth in Serie A right now.
Yes, that's his third season, first as an assistant. He went up. Obviously, last year we finished mid-table, and now we're sixth.
What's impressive about him, Thierry, and the way
Just
that
the way he
works?
goes about stuff, just the way he sees the game. We lost 4-0 against it was 4-0 against Inter away from home. He said, I'd rather lose 4-0 than wait for Inter to murder us in front of our box. And you're looking at that, and people will go like, well, that's a bit crazy. You conceded 4, but when you look at it, we didn't concede a lot of goals. He's still trying to put pressure high, trying to build with maybe players that you will say you shouldn't go with that type of player playing that way. And I've been talking now, obviously I was looking on my phone, we won 3-0 away at Lazio tonight. So what he's been doing at the moment, it's brilliant.
The rest of the names on here, we come to Eddie Howe next. I'm a huge fan of Eddie Howe, and I heard what Roy said last week, and I'm with him. I think the type of football, when you see Newcastle at their best, high energy, pressing, going forward, that is not just Manchester United, that's a lot of the top clubs, that's how they want to play on the front foot. The real big thing that I like about Eddie Howe is how he handles the press. You've got to be able to handle the press as a Manchester United manager. It's the club that's on the back pages more than any other club in this country. And I think Newcastle, we probably don't think it from the outside, but when you're inside Newcastle and you live in that city, that is just a constant thing, and he handles it brilliantly. And what he also does that I think would really help Manchester United is Manchester United have a problem right now of no matter who they bring in as players, young players, a lot of them fail and they don't go on to sort of realise the potential. I think Eddie Howe's a great coach. So I'd leave Eddie Howe in there. There's no chance of Arbeloa getting it. And I'm actually going to cross out Michael Carrick. And the reason I say that
You've
is
been
that...
very praiseworthy with your analysis earlier.
Yeah, I was. But I go back to something I said last week, and I'm not going to change my mind. We've done analysis tonight on Michael Carrick being really positive. Rightly so, it was fantastic. And we've done really positive stuff on Liam Rosenior at Chelsea and his idea and what he's doing right now. But I go back to it and I can't change my opinion because I always think this when a Liverpool manager gets appointed. Do I believe this guy can win us the league? Can he do it? It doesn't mean he will do it, but I've got to believe he can. I don't believe Manchester United could win the league with Michael Carrick as the manager, or Chelsea could win the league with Liam Rosenior as a manager. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, I'm only giving my honest opinion of what I feel and their sort of background, experience as managers, what they've done in the past. You know, you've got to be special. When you think of the managers who won the Premier League, there's something really special about 99% of them, I would say. And I just think probably Michael Carrick likes that and Liam Rosenior likes that. I might be proven wrong, but that's why I would take Michael Carrick out of that. So I'm left with...
So we've got 4 names left. Tuchel, Nagelsmann, Enrique and Eddie Howe. Has he crossed off anyone that we should put back on there, Thierry?
Again, for me, and I know you're going to say I'm crazy. I'm not crazy. Like, we're playing a game here, but this is reality. And reality is, what do they want Man United? What? Because we're sitting here, again, what do they want? Like, I don't feel it from the outside. I do not feel it. I don't feel what they're looking at. Whatever, I said to you, Bayern went to get Vincent Kompany. We talked about Luis Enrique. We talked about Frank Rijkaard. We can talk about, you can agree or disagree. You can see what type of coaches they want. I don't know at Man United. I really don't know what they are about now, what they want to achieve, and what is the DNA I'm talking about now when I watch the games. And what Michael Carrick did at the weekend was brilliant. But then maybe in 2 weeks we're going to talk about something else. So what do they want? How are they going to go about it? And it should be clear in order to get one of those guys that we're talking about on the list that Jamie picked.
Well, there's Jamie's final four. I just wondered if you wanted to throw Michael Carrick back on there before we make it a final five for him to...
I'm just saying that at one point, if a guy is in position and does very well,
if they get Champions League
why can he not get a chance to maybe be re-interviewed, or however it is, and to keep his job? Why not? But again, this is us speculating, and I know it's fun. It's a game, but I can't bypass the fact that, especially, I'll be honest with you, especially because I played for Barcelona at the end of my career. And that impacted me. I said it so many times. I'm an Arsenal fan and that will never change. But the way they see it on the other side, if you don't fit how the house is, it doesn't matter who you are or what, and also it doesn't matter also what you have done before. You fit what they believe in, you can come. If you know what I mean. But what are you in order to make that decision?
So all those clubs have given you permission, and countries have given you permission to speak to
that's also,
their coaches.
They're not available.
There is a slight caveat to this list, is that all these people are actually in work.
I think,
with respect to their countries and clubs.
If you're Manchester United, I think everybody will want Luis Enrique. They'll have watched how PSG played last year. We're talking about a guy who's won the Champions League twice. I don't think they'll get Luis Enrique. I think there's a good chance they could end up with Thomas Tuchel.
You know what's also important in all of that? You have managers in history that could do both. Because we talked about managing and coaching. Okay, some people are so blind into how they want to play. They don't want to change, don't want to adapt to the guys. At one point, you have to let the players play. We've seen Ancelotti at Everton. In terms of how they were playing, he goes at Real Madrid, he manages players, he has better players, he went on to win the Champions League and so many time games, and what a manager he is. Then you have a guy like Luis Enrique and Pep Guardiola. Because they have the Barca DNA, they can bring that to you. They can coach and they can manage. Pep is ruthless with his management. That's a fact. I don't have an issue with that. As I said, tactically, is the best I've ever had. But he's ruthless with the management. But he will do that. And tactically, he goes to details that you will not understand if you're not equipped with your brain to understand what he wants. But he has both. Luis Enrique has both. You have managers and a coach at the same time when you get those guys.
Right, so before we get to that four-man shortlist, should Carrick have been on it?
I don't see why not. I disagree with Jamie there, because I think when you look at the managers that are now coming in to the Premier League, the young managers, would you believe that Arsenal could win the title with Arteta when he first come in? No, of course not. Chelsea, they brought in Rafinha. Do you think he could, win the Premier League with them right now? Not yet, but who knows? Look at Arteta. Michael Carrick, for me, is a really good manager. I've seen him at work. He's a brilliant coach. He knows Manchester United. He was a top player. He's got respect. He's talking about Luis Enrique. Of course, everyone wants Luis Enrique. Nagelsmann. Of course you want Nagelsmann. But I think Manchester United right now, they need stability, and they need a manager who knows the football club, knows the Manchester United way, knows how he wants to set the team up. And I think that guy right now is perfect for Michael Carrick. Now, listen, if he goes on and he loses games against Burnley and, he loses games, and he go, OK, maybe he's not the guy. But I tell you what, I watched him at against Man City, and that was a Manchester United team that I could watch. That was a proper Man United performance. OK, it's against Man City, it's a cup final. He's got to do it week in, week out. If he goes and wins 8, 9, 10 games, gets top 4, why shouldn't Michael Carrick be considered for the Man United job? Why? Why not?
Well, actually, we're doing a poll this morning, and we've added Michael Carrick to it. So you've got Jamie Carragher's 4 plus Michael Carrick, and we've got other there as well. And as you can see, Carrick's actually second and only just behind Luis Enrique. There's no clear... It's not like someone's got 70 or 80% there.
No.
Luis Enrique with 27, and then it's Michael Carrick with 25.
Yeah, but look, of course, Luis Enrique, he's a world-class manager, and but Luis Enrique's got unbelievable players at PSG, and he's built a really good side. Of course you want Luis Enrique. But Michael Carrick, he knows what he's doing, Michael Carrick. You know, he knows Man United. He's got really good backroom staff. He's got Jonathan Woodgate in there. Woody knows his stuff. He's got respect, you know, in the game. He's a brilliant coach. He's been at Real Madrid. He's been in the Premier League for a long time. The players are going to respect what you could see instantly after that game against Man City. Michael Carrick had his arm around Kobe Manu. He's laughing with Bruno Fernandes. They're on board with him. They're disillusioned with Ruben Amorim and his tactics, and it weren't for Man United. Michael Carrick knows what Man United's about. He knows how they want to play, and he's got some really good players. If he can keep Mbuemo fit, Cunha, Fernandes, you know, Kobe Manu comes back into the team. I thought he was superb. Michael Carrick can win the Premier League for Man United. Michael Carrick, if you give him the right foundations, you give him a decent infrastructure, good recruitment, Michael Carrick can win the Premier League with Man United.
No English manager has ever won the Premier League. Did you know that?
Maybe I'll take that back then.
Yeah, well, no. You've got Carrick if he gets the job. You've got Rossini and Eddie Howe's up there with Newcastle as well.
But Tom, we're seeing a lot of English managers all of a sudden. I love it. It's good to see. I mean, we're quick to dig out people getting opportunities. How's Rossini getting a job at Chelsea? But I tell you what, it's great to see young managers, English managers, British managers getting the opportunity to manage big clubs in the Premier League. We ain't seen that before. We ain't seen that for a long time. Maybe this is time for change, and people can agree with it or not. But we've got some young managers, really good young managers, who are coming into the Premier League now, give them the opportunity to maybe go and win a title.
Well, would you say there that Carrick can win the title at Manchester United? What sort of time?
Listen, Arteta's had
just to be clear.
Arteta's had 5 years, Tom. Arsenal fans wanted Arteta out after a couple of seasons, but they stuck with him. They stuck with a plan, and they've reaped the rewards now. They built a team, they trusted his process, they believed him in as a manager. That was his first job. You know, and now Arteta is classed as one of the best managers in the world. I'm not saying Michael Carrick is going to be an Arteta, but what I'm saying is he's got the fundamentals. He knows what Man United's about. He was a top player. His style of football. I think if you give him the right infrastructure, I'm not saying it's going to happen in 2 years. It might happen in 5. I think Man United would take that. If you said that you're going to be challenging for the title in 5 years, like Arsenal, over the next 3 seasons, finish third, second, all of a sudden you're there, I think Man United fans will say, I'm not saying Michael Carrick is the definite answer, but I'm saying why not?
Yeah. Well, you did actually say if he does well between now and the end of the season. You didn't say give it to him now. In fairness, away from that head coach situation, you'll have sseen this with like Nicky Butt. He's told Lisandro Martinez to grow up and deal with criticism.
Yeah.
Because Martinez challenged Paul Scholes to speak to him face to face after Scholes and Butt mocked the defender's size ahead of the Manchester derby. Now, he actually played very well in that Manchester derby, didn't he?
He's actually a really good player.
Which does help Martinez's case.
Of course.
What do you think here? I mean, you, Butt, Scholes, you're paid to give your opinions.
Yeah.
Do you expect the players to react like that?
Yeah, Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes are on a completely different level to me. They are Man United legendary status. They can say what they want, and they have every right to share their opinion. And a player has every right to answer back. You know, everyone's a right to you know, hold their ground and stake their claim and say, hold on a minute, I disagree with that. Martinez coming out saying, you know, come round my house. Now, Nicky Butt was quite funny. He said he's 50 years old. We're going to go round your house for it, you know? Like, you know, I think you've got to be, when you're playing for Manchester United, as Jamie Carragher said, they are the most talked about club in the world. Everyone talks about Man United. They are the big story. And when you've got legends like Nicky Butt, Paul Scholes, who are entitled to their opinion, you know, you have to swallow it.
Is it quite good to see Martinez reacting?
Yeah, I don't mind it.
We sometimes do criticise players and managers for purposely not giving a proper answer when they're asked by reporters anything. He has actually given... He said, well, why doesn't he say it to my face?
I've got no issue with Martinez coming out and answering back. You know, and but listen, you've got to take criticism when you're at the big clubs. As a manager, as a player, you are under scrutiny every single week. And it's all right for Martinez, you know, saying, you know, what he said, but, you know, he's just come back into the team and he had a really good game. And I like Martinez. I think he's a good player. but I've seen Martinez have some stinkers as well. So, at the end of the day, you've got to take criticism. Play well to the end of the season, build that football club and get them in the top 4. Then you can say to Nicky Butt, come on and let's go and have a coffee, But right now, Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes, who are legends of the game, every right to criticise Man United.
Okay, right, coming up. So Jamie Carragher said last night that he could not see Manchester United winning a league title with Michael Carrick in charge. But our guest, Jamie O'Hara, disagreed in the last hour. He thinks it is possible, and that's resulted in lots of reaction from you this morning, including this from Adam.
Jamie O'Hara, you've got no chance of Manchester United winning the league. No chance whatsoever under Carrick at all, or any other manager.
Yeah, I think Adam might think that we meant this season, but OK, fair enough. What about from Wayne?
I'm a Man United fan, and I agree with Jamie. I think if Carrick did really well to the end of the season, got us in the Champions League, then why not give him the job? I don't think at the moment any manager could win Man United the Premier League in the next 3 or 4 seasons. It's going to take time. Yeah. But I agree, if Carrick does well, give him the job, why not?
So not in the next 3 or 4 seasons. You did say 5, in fairness, and Alec thinks Carrick could be the man.
I agree with Jamie. I think Michael Carrick could win the Premiership with United. He's got the ability, he's got the love of the players, and you can see from the game against Man City that he got his tactics right. They were spot on. So give him a chance.
You thought you were going to get ridiculed. Well, so far,
Well,
only 3 have been against you and 2 have been agreeing with you.
yeah, look, I'm not saying he's definitely the answer, but I'm saying why not? The prime example for me is Arteta. It was his first job, his managerial job. And now look at him, he's classed as one of the best managers in the world, Arteta. It's took him 5 years, but they trusted him, they built the process, and they believed in him as a manager through some tough moments when he wasn't doing great, but they stuck by him and they built a team. Now, Michael Carrick is of a similar ilk. He's a good manager. He's been a top quality player. He's played for Manchester United, played for England. He's got respect in the game. Really good coach. This is a big step up for him. Who's to say if he doesn't do a really good job, why can he not have the infrastructure at Manchester United to go on and be successful? Of course, as I said, Luis Enrique. Everyone wants Luis Enrique. Of course, the Nagelsmann. Yeah, of course, these are top managers. But if you're going to look at a situation where we're seeing at the moment with, owners who have sporting directors or director of football, whatever you want to call them, and have head coaches and they build a coach a team, Michael Carrick could be a manager where you look at that and say he could be successful. I'm not saying that he's going to go and win the Premier League. I'm saying, why not? Why not? He's a good manager. He's got really good backroom staff behind him. Jonathan Woodgate. I know Jonathan, they're top people. They know what they're doing, and the players will respect them.